Travis Wayne Goodsell. It occurred to me the other day, I don't believe I have ever made a birth and death comparison between the LDS Last Days Moses Messiah and President Thomas S Monson's births and death signs in the heavens. They both had them, and they both contrast each other. It's kind of cool and interesting. So I'll do that here in this video. We'll go back to not doing the new series that I was starting, which kind of getting slow going as YouTube's analytics doesn't want me to be known. They attacked me again today on the old channel. They just will not leave me alone. So yeah, I'm kind of concerned right now, as history has shown that when this sign occurs, the judges, whoever's in charge of the lawsuit, tends to judge against me. So I'm not too excited about this as a result. We'll find out after midnight tonight, I guess, but we'll see. I would be surprised that if it was today, on Wednesday, or tomorrow being Thursday, so that Tina Campbell has a extended long week vacation. We'll see. Thomas S Monson, his birthday is the 21st of August. Yes. So his birthday was on the day of the first day of darkness, 21st of August 2017, the total solar eclipse that went over the whole United States of America. And I'll most likely put these pictures up in their order at the beginning of this video. So we'll see. So you'll have to listen to this part and then refer back to them, I guess. I'll most likely do the Adam on Diamond clip, so it'll give you plenty of time to look at the picture. And if you're using your phone, you're going to want to transfer this to your desktops, where you have a bigger screen, or your TV even. I guess you can even access YouTube from your TV. I'm sure you guys have got far bigger TVs than I have, or computer screens. But yeah, the solar eclipse, as you can see, occurred right in conjunction with the star Regulus, the king star. Regulus, king star, in Leo. Now Leo plays a significant role with the birth sign for the Son of Man, whom we'll summarize for the longer version that I gave for the Mormon Moses Messiah of the latter days. His sign was his birth sign was 23rd September 2017. And yes, you're probably going, no Travis, the New Testament is when Jesus was born and died. That's what Samuel the Lamanite was referring to in the Book of Mormon. Yeah, you missed out a lot. I recommend you get caught up before you get pissed off and start being abusive towards me, because there's a lot you're missing. So yes, Monson's birthday sign was pretty much the start of the end of the world. and as a result, the birth sign for the Son of Man was therefore necessary. Because he needs to come if there's trouble. And so the death sign of Monson, this was huge. Man, it was massive. The sign itself, it comes from Revelation chapter 3 or 12, and I think it is 3 or 4. It's where the stars fall from the tail of the dragon, and so it's the quadrantids, as you see from the tail of Draco the dragon, and that's the night Monson died. And gonna have to, I think it was in Gemini. No, the moon's in Cancer. Yeah, the moon is in Cancer, and so it was in Gemini for the 31st. Because I mean, this was a huge event involving multiple signs for Monson's death. So the moon was in Cancer. It was a super moon, so super that it lasted the first and the second, and so the 31st was also a super moon, but it was a lunar eclipse in the wolf month by their wolves in sheep's clothing, for example. And so yeah, I caught that immediately, knowing his death and the moon that was attributed to it with the lunar eclipse, which was what got me started in all of this. I mean, the 2002 Olympics, okay, yeah, I did notice 5 visible planets in the setting sky during that time period. But it wasn't until Faust died, not too far away from a lunar eclipse, and then Hinckley died right after that, not too far away from a lunar eclipse. And so, yes, to have a lunar eclipse in conjunction with Revelation chapter 12, and a supermoon, and Tales from the Dragon. There's also the December Leonis Minorids, meteors from Leo. And we also have Mars. This is why I show Mars on Nelson's death date, is because who takes over from Monson? Nelson takes over from Monson. When Monson dies, it's automatically Nelson. That's the way Brigham Young designed it. And so that's why I refer to Nelson as Mars, and all of the subsequent events that have occurred. I previously knew or suspected, because of the partial lunar eclipse that occurred back in February of 2017, when I was out in the floods of Elko, Nevada, at a book signing for that weekend, and Nelson was here in Salt Lake City, unaffected by the flooding that surrounded Salt Lake City. It was in northern Utah, eastern, western, southern. It was all over except in Salt Lake City this time, if you remember the flood that occurred in Salt Lake City way back in the day. And so yes, Revelation 12, look for the flood part. And that's where I first suspected it might be Nelson. And again, I just barely, in November, right before our election in 2016, learned of the total solar eclipse. And so I'm like, oh crap, I've got to do some serious research and figure out the signs in the heavens. And thus how I've done all these videos on signs in the heavens. And so yeah, Nelson's at the top of Libra, the scales of judgment. He's at the top, which means he's now the judge. Thus, Monson dying, Mars is at the top of Libra, dead, replacement. And so this is the death of Monson. The death of the Son of Man is not really his death. It's the sign of the Son of Man, the second one, of his coming to America. I did the one video where I put the sign in the heaven in place of the sun, with Jesus coming down to the American Nephites at Bountiful to show what it was really decoded to mean. And I'm going to have to deal with the program here in a minute. But yeah, this is where the total solar eclipse on 8 April 2024, the third day of darkness over America, is riding Pegasus, the constellation Pegasus. Thus, it's in Pisces, where it occurs. And the reason why it's the death sign for the Son of Man is because Jupiter, who is the Son of Man because of the birth sign, where he's born of the Virgin, as the scriptures tell us, is Jupiter is the one born, because it retrogrades in each constellation for a pregnancy period. And so in 2024 it gets to Aries, and Aries is the Ram constellation. And so when you remember your biblical story of Abraham sacrificing Isaac, a ram appears as the messenger is there. Lo and behold, we have Jupiter in Aries this time. And if you're saying, well, was there a sign in the heaven for the Abraham sacrificing Moses with a messenger and a ram constellation? Why, yes. Yes, there was. And you'll never guess when. It was 600 years from the time Lehi left Jerusalem. No kidding. And it occurred up in the Russian area by the Netherlands over into Russia. I can't find a Russian city that covers it. It's closest to St. Petersburg. But yeah, 4 CE was when it occurred on the 8th of April. So 20 years later, we have another total solar eclipse, but this time instead of over Russia, it is over the United States of America, that crosses over the United States of America. X marks the spot, or the end of the world, the end of America, and the end of the religion. Because if you don't know, that's what the whole latter days is about, is the destruction of the government and religion, so that the Son of Man can replace the government and the religion, restoring both to the kingdom of David, to therefore have the true Zion. And quite a different scenario if you're not up on your biblical stories and the prophecies that they're referring to. Okay. So There you have the birth sign and the death sign of Monson, and you have the birth sign and the death sign of the Son of Man. And they have completely different roles, don't they? Monson actually dies. The Son of Man establishes the kingdom for the millennial reign of peace. Wouldn't it be nice to have a millennial reign of peace? Wouldn't it be nice to have Zion built? Wouldn't it be nice if the judge would not judge against me today or tomorrow? So, we'll see.